What up, though? What's up, guys? Welcome into another show. Jammin with J Money. It's Wednesday. We back, ready to get to some money, man. Make sure y'all go to SBR Picks /NBA to check out all the articles that we have over there. Myself, Jordan Sharp, and Junior Brown. Junior Brown all have articles over there. And any type of sport that you'd like to bet, we have free plays over there and articles to go with it, man. So make sure you guys go over there and, like I say, check out the odds and everything, man. Compare your odds. Make sure you're getting the best betting lines. What's up, Jordan? Everything good with your brother? How was your day yesterday?
Yesterday for me was a story of the bets I didn't take versus the one I did. The one I did is either bad bet or just dumb. The WNBA last night, I took the full six with the Suns. Should have just stuck to first quarter, first half like I was meant to. And then the other side of things, we talked about it all show yesterday. I just wanted to bet the Nuggets. I didn't. Sure enough, they came up and smacked the crap out of the Lakers in the first, basically the second and third quarter. So I guess to say a half of basketball. Lakers tried to make that fourth quarter comeback, just was not working. They ran out of juice, and the Nuggets ended up getting done. We said it yesterday. They had to do it yesterday, or it wasn't going to happen at all. Sure enough, they did it. Now we got a little bit of a series on the Western side, which is nice. See if the Eastern side of things gets even better tonight here. Maybe we get a tied series as well in that. Who knows? But I just a little bit of buyer's remorse yesterday for me, but we're gonna bounce back today. I got an official play locked in already for everybody today, so we're gonna get that money back tonight.
Yeah, let's get some cash, man. Let's get some cash. We know it's only one game per day, so I mean, if you see something that you like, hey, bet it. If you don't feel super comfortable on it, you know what I'm saying. I'm definitely not gonna be one to talk you off or just stand off. I mean, sometimes the safest bet is no bet. And one more thing, Junior, I like. So I hate losing more than I like winning. And I realize that, you know what I'm saying? So that's why me personally, I've scaled back. I've found myself betting too much on some games, even though won them, so I found myself betting too much on some games. We know bankroll management, but it's still my money. So I'm going to do what the hell I want to do. But you know how that is, Junior. Sometimes a safe bet is no bet, man. What's up, brother? Everything good with you?
Yeah, I haven't made a bet on Monday or Tuesday, and I'm still up money. Funny how that works, but yeah, that's the safest bet. Something is no bet. I can't really say it any better. Somebody in the chat just put up they bet 5 bands on Denver money line. Damn, bro, you having caviar for lunch today or what? That's you got some cojones making that bet, that's for sure. But yeah, great game last night. Denver, man, they're just fighters, bro. They're just fighters. You know what I mean? And something that Jordan said, because, I try not to be biased. Jamal Murray, I've been watching him or hearing about him since he was like a 15-year-old. I mean, boy's a baller, bro. I mean, he's not consistent during the regular season, and that's still something that he has to fix. But Jesus, man, he just makes big shots, bro. Like the shot that he made over Anthony Davis at the end of the game, he basically took his balls out and was like, yo, Anthony Davis, hold on to these real quick, bro. Like, he's a baller. He's a baller. And as long as you got at least one baller, and they got 2 of them, you got to fight. You got a fighting chance. So I'm glad that because I really leaned Lakers yesterday, but I was just too scared because how many times am I going to doubt Denver? So I stayed off it. Now that I got to see that game, I think I can make a proper assessment of Game 4 moving forward.
Yeah, that second quarter is what did it, man. It's interesting. I mean, for me, just my assessment on the game. It's crazy for me to see the Lakers where they could just turn it on and off. We saw it in the fourth quarter where they pretty much turned it on. You know what I'm saying? They damn near came, so they got down 20. I think it was 97-77. I'm pretty sure. Got down 20 points. Then they went on like a 16-2 run, cut it to like 5 points. And then obviously the Nuggets. I mean, it takes a whole nother level right there of the superstar for you to be able to take that punch and give another haymaker back, because a lot of times we see teams when they steal the momentum, especially when you're the underdog, they could have easily came back and lost that game by 7 or more points. I know I was watching it real closely, but I mean, the Nuggets end up getting it done 114-106. You said something there, Jamal Murray, man. I mean, we knew that this was the comeback tour for the Nuggets after last year being up. I think it was 3-2 versus the Blazers, and then let them win the last 2 games, man. So all summer, Jamal Murray been working. I mean, this has been they're supposed to be right right here. In all honesty, if you follow the Nuggets, because they're just so pissed the way that they went out in last year's playoffs. This doesn't surprise me. And like Coach Mike Malone said, they just like playing in the bubble. Jordan, there's something about it. No crowd. They don't have to travel anything. Murray and Jokic was enough last night. We can't forget Jeremy Grant as well, because even Coach said it was himself. Without his 26 points last night, his offense, they would have went down 3-0. What you think about Jeremy Grant? And he hit his prop too.
He did.
Jordan and Porter. He had 9 points in the first. This is why I don't like props, Jordan. He had 9 points in the first half and was cooking. No points in the second half. I would have been hot if I.
He got one. He got one, Jay. He got one. He
What
hit
happened?
one of the most important baskets of the game. When the Lakers were making that run, they cut it to 3. He hit that garbage run in to the left off the backboard, Florida bullshit. But he made that basket was important though in the game.
I mean, it just shows you, like, what you're talking about, like, some teams thrive, like the Nuggets in the bubble, and other teams like the Clippers collapse. It's just a matter of mentality. This has been truly a testament. I remember when we first were like, oh, this is going to be an asterisk season, whoever wins the championship. Like, no, it should actually be an asterisk because it's been harder, actually, than a normal NBA season, because you've been trapped in a hotel atmosphere for 3 months or whatever it's been. So, yeah, I mean, when it comes to Jeremy Grant, I was real impressed with him. They basically matched minutes with LeBron, and he did a good enough job on him. I think that he's got to be commended here for the effort that he's had to take on in this series. If they come up and win, obviously the story is going to be Jamal Murray, but you could argue that the second most important Nuggets player has been Jeremy Grant. If they end up winning this series, I could see that definitely playing out. So yeah, shout out to him. I mean, like I said, this is the Lakers, though. I don't want to talk too much about this game because we obviously got one today, but like, the Lakers seem to be that team that just need that motivation. They need to be down 20. They need to get beaten before they actually are able to put it all together for 4 quarters. So, I mean, like, I can't wait to see tomorrow's game and what everybody thinks about that, to be honest, because that's going to be a real testament, I think, of how much of a handicapper you are. Because are you gonna follow the trend, or are you gonna follow what actually is likely to happen? I think it's going to be interesting tomorrow. But anyway, shout out to the Nuggets. I definitely give them more credit. I think the Lakers definitely did lose that game also, but I would give more credit to the Nuggets winning that one with how they played and stretching out that lead into that third quarter, and how they put that together for the second and third quarter. That was very impressive. Said it before the show. Jamal Murray might be a superstar already. I don't even know at this point with what I'm seeing from him. He's just unconscious levels of like. I'm not ready to put him in Steph Curry or Dame Lillard category, but he's knocking on that door real quick with the performances he's put up so far in the bubble. If he continues this and they win this series, I might have to put him in that category of just let him shoot because he's on fire. You can't stop him. Like, nobody else should shoot the ball than Jamal Murray. I think they finally figured that out too yesterday.
Yeah, and my last thing I'm gonna say about the game, the Lakers, I feel like it was a little bit more. I mean, the Nuggets came out and took it. Don't get it twisted, especially being up 44-29 in the second quarter. When they took off on them in the second quarter, that was really the game right there. But the Lakers didn't come to play. I mean, and I know Junior guys say something about Anthony Davis having 2 rebounds. How the hell is that happen? You 7 feet out here, bro. I mean, how, bro? You got 2 rebounds, and that was the reason why the Nuggets ran all over the Lakers. It was the rebound, and they killed them boys on the boards with Anthony Davis. You can't play 42 minutes, bro, and have 2 rebounds. There's no way in hell, bro. Talk your talk, Junior, because I know you got something to say about it.
Listen, that's why I love doing the show with both of you guys, because we're on the same wavelength. You guys see what I see. I was just about to talk about Anthony Davis's 2 rebounds and LeBron's 2 free throws. You want to know why the Lakers lost that game? That's exactly why. Now, I'm not going to blame LeBron for that because he actually was pretty aggressive. I just think that LeBron's 2 free throws are just another one of those signs where his game is just different. When it's a half-court, slow-him-down game, he's not beating anybody off the dribble. And when he does, there's always someone in his face. You've seen him falling down, making weird passes. He tried some weird-ass spin move. It's just not the same for him, and that's normal. I mean, you can't expect a guy to be Superman for 20 years. Like, the fact that he's still playing at this level is actually amazing. Like, I'm actually starting to appreciate LeBron more now that he's older than I used to when he was young, where it was just like, this guy's Karl Malone, but a point guard. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you supposed to stop him? But getting back to your point, if you're 7 feet tall, the box score should just automatically pencil you in for 6 rebounds. You should be getting 6 rebounds in your sleep.
Accidentally.
Yeah, right.
Come on, dog. Come on, bro.
It's all effort. It's effort. Rebounding is effort.
Rebounding is effort. Period.
Hey, when you playing basketball, bro, sometimes if you just in the right spot, bro, you don't even have to jump. The ball will literally fall in your hands, bro. It's happened time. You just box out It should be where nobody else is right there. It should really, literally fall. If I was that tall, bro, it'd be Will Chamberlain, man. I am not playing because it's all about heart, really. But I mean, we'll see the Lakers, and I can't wait to talk about this game tomorrow. We'll get to it. We'll get to it though.
That conversation.
I always listen, and just because he's still relevant in our consciousness, I use Charles Barkley as the perfect example. Charles Barkley was 6'5", and for his career, averaged 11.7 rebounds a game. For his career, a 6'5" dude. It's about effort. Do you want it or do you not want it? Because if you don't understand that rebounding is defense, then you kind of don't understand basketball. You can play the best defense in the world. If they grab an offensive rebound, you're still playing defense. Rebounding is the last act of defense. So if you're not grabbing rebounds, I'm sorry, you're not contributing to the defense. I mean, yeah, Anthony Davis does contribute by blocking shots and rotating and switching. Come on, bro. 2 rebounds in a playoff game? He should be embarrassed.
And how do you let Jokic get 10 rebounds? Jokic even come out and say, I can't jump that high. That's why I move like this.
Wants
That's
it.
why, but you get 10 rebounds and you get 2. How do you let Jokic get more rebounds than you? Last thing I got to say about that. And my guy, Giorgio Ruiz, said Vegas paid AD money, man. That shit there was funny. Rodman, and even better, he said, you don't want to talk about Rodman and rebounding because that guy there wanted it.
That dude was relentless, yeah.
He was the best rebounder in NBA history. And I'm there for all the smoke, man. I don't care who you bring up. I'm taking Rodman.
Come on. You gonna say Will Chamberlain? Get out of here, bro.
Rodman had the heart, bro. He was like a small forward out there going to get every. I mean, you're going to get 20-some rebounds multiple games, bro. That's just stupid, man. That's stupendous, man.
But he's maybe 6'7", 6'8".
Exactly. It's all about.
He was
heart.
also one of like the strongest per pound players in the NBA at the time. Also, though that also has a lot to do with rebounding. But still, though, I mean, it wasn't like Rodman was overly athletic. Like the dude just wanted it more than everybody every single night.
Yeah, and he was crazy as hell in the hell. He was crazy as hell in the head as well. Let's go ahead and get to today's game, though, man. We see some line movement with the total here. I know earlier this morning, I know it's at 210.5. Yesterday opened at 210. It was up to 211 in the half this morning. Now it's up to 212 at some books. It looks like that. Looks like the over is getting hit here. It's 2 damn good defensive teams, but we know that sometimes one team can kind of be, a little elite offensively. What you think about this total here, Jordan? And the spread opened up as well for Celtics -2.5 up to 3.5 now 4 at Heritage. What you think about this spread or total, my guy?
I'll start with the total. I'm not surprised to see the total tick up because we are seeing some steam hit the Celtics right now. So I mean, theoretically the over would be correlated with the favorite here, but I understand the Celtics getting money. The over getting money is a little more confusing to me because it's just like you said, these two teams are now in game 4 of this series. They're 2 of the better defensive teams outside the Lakers left in this whole thing, and if game 2 was any indication, obviously the Celtics got hot in game 3 and hit a few more threes and got to the free throw line like 30 times or whatever it was. But I mean, assuming that doesn't happen again, and assuming they miss a few more shots and the Heat come to play a little more defense to this one, I'm definitely not going to be chasing the steam on this total on the over here. My play on this one, I hit the first half at Boston -1.5 in this one. Simply just because I think from what we've seen in this series so far is Celtics pretty easily winning the first half in the last 2 games. Not to say that should happen a third straight time, but I think with the Heat, who have been a second half team this whole playoffs, they're the topper, second best net rating in the second half of any of the playoff teams so far. I think Boston with Gordon Hayward back, which is something we talked about yesterday a little bit before we talked about the Lakers-Nuggets game. If he's back and hitting shots again for this team off the bench, especially from beyond the arc, I really see this offense being very tough to stop in the early parts of the game and down the stretch for that matter. But for me, I got it mostly because of the bargain price. It was at 1.5. It's all the way up to 2.5 now. You could still see some 2s poking out of this first half line. I would take an even 2, I think, still, but 2.5 maybe a little bit too rich for me. So if you missed it, I wouldn't recommend going to chase that. But because I got it at a single basket, I like the Boston's chances here with how good they've been. They're the only team in the playoffs with the defensive rating under 100 in the first half so far. That's all playoffs. So that's including the Lakers as well. So I know I lean more towards analytics, the narrative in some instances, and I do think the Heat can win this game. That's why I'm not betting against them full game. But I do think Boston has the better first 24 minutes.
Got you. Hey, I couldn't talk nobody out of there, man. I think the Celtics have hit every single first half. Maybe not one. I think it was one where they were tied.
They
But
tied for game one, yeah.
yeah. Them boys be balling in the first half, man. Whether they lose the lead or not, the first half they definitely come out there. What you think about this one, Junior? I did see something about Jimmy Butler challenging his team, saying with their, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna see who they really are. That was the one thing that scared me off taking the Celtics early. I had one of my guys on Twitter was like, "Why we're not on Celtics first quarter? We've been living out the first quarter." I was like, "Nah, not today." I don't know, man. I got a funny feeling that the Heat could possibly come out here hot, possibly pissed off from the last game. If they do, that's when they have to be early. Junior, what you think on Jimmy Butler's comments about how his team seeing who they really are in this game?
Yeah, I'm right. I mean, listen, it's kind of hard for me to bail on the Heat as much as I've backed them this season. And Jordan just said one thing that's really important. The Heat have been one of the best first half teams in the NBA all season, and the Celtics have kind of flipped that narrative on them. Now, the Heat's the Heat's first half record had a lot to do with their home games because they're just not the same team on the road. And obviously, we know this is a bubble situation, so that narrative is a bit different. But before the show, I told you guys that I wasn't going to make a play on the show just because I never kind of do teasers. I always just, offer up straight bets. Been playing around with these teasers. I actually just made an official play, so I'll just do it on the show. I teased Miami up to +8 and the under 216. I just think that it's hard for me to bet on one team versus the other because I just really think that this is such an even matchup. That teaser is not plus money, but I just think that spotting any one of these teams, if you give me the Heat or the Celtics +8, I'm taking that all day, every day. And to touch on something Jordan said, I just don't understand how you could look at these two teams and think that this series plays towards the over. Not to say that you're wrong, because it doesn't mean that I'm right just because that's my opinion. But I'm just saying I watch these games. I watch these teams all season. In a playoff situation, we said this yesterday, as the games continue to get later and later, and when I say later and later, like later and later in the series, and the pressure starts to mount, the most likely outcome is for the scores to start going down, not going up. That's just my opinion. So I'm riding with the +8 on Miami and under 216 as a teaser. I think that, to me, that seems like a lock. I don't see how these teams score that many points, and I don't see either one of these teams getting blown out. Not in such a pivotal game.
Gotcha. We saw last game, man. So the Central's down 0-2, and I mean, like I say, just because the team goes down 0-2, that doesn't mean the series is over. If the Celtics win tonight, in my opinion, the momentum shifts all the way towards them. They can't come in here playing with complacency. They can't come in here thinking about last game. It does scare me because I want them coming in playing with the same fire that they did last game. It is kind of hard to duplicate that. In theory, the Heat are the ones that's coming off the loss playing with fire, but the key situation here, in my opinion, is Gordon Hayward. Will he continue to give them good minutes off the bench? He did play 31 last minute, so like Coach Brad Stevens said, he's gotten into the field. He knows that he can do it. It's not in the back of his mind that, got to play 20 to 24 minutes, then step up to 26, 28. The injury staff, they pretty much felt good about his ankle. I think we're going to see more Gordon Hayward off the bench. I like that better for him. Smart in the starting lineup. You're going to need him on Dragic. He called me crazy, but I think the Celtics getting Hayward back, and I kind of said it before this series. I said, wait, what if the Celtics lose the first two games and they get Gordon Hayward back? It's a whole new series now. I think they're going to win tonight. I do think, my guy, there's some guys in the chat, man, Junior, they really want you to say Los Heat. So one guy really said, say it with me, Los Heat. My other guy saying, somebody else saying, he keep getting on you about this sweater. He's talking about the Cowboys sweater.
I swear to God,
I'm in Dallas, and I'm not a fan of the Cowboys, I must say.
Jay, I swear to God, I've been biting my lips while they bleed. I'm biting my tongue and my lip trying not to answer these guys. Listen, y'all.
He just messing around.
I just want to say this. The only reason I'm not answering it is because I love Atlanta. It's one of my favorite cities. I'm always in Decatur. If y'all know Atlanta, there's a restaurant called Homegrown just north of East Atlanta. My favorite spot in the world. But Atlanta fans, we can talk about it after the show. You guys need some counseling. Y'all need some counseling.
Oh, that's tough. I was watching the game, bro, Jordan.
Y'all need counseling.
This ain't an NFL show, Jordan, but
Falcons fans were having flashbacks from the Super Bowl, bro. They were shook on.
That's tough. I watched that game, man. But I mean, the Cowboys earned it. They came back. I saw the momentum is huge, man. And that's why. And that's one thing I got to say about this game. Momentum is huge. If the Celtics can play with that same intensity and fire last game, another thing, man, if this is how I'm looking at the game, and that's why I say if the Celtics win this game, they could possibly shift the momentum because they have all their players now. If they figured out that zone, Jordan, it's going to be over for the Heat because that was the only thing that was throwing the Celtics off their balance. Keep in mind, the Celtics that had a double-digit lead, even though they're down 1-2, they've had a double-digit lead in each one of these games. When in the second half, when the Heat start throwing them different defensive looks, mainly the zone, that's what throws them off. They stop shooting all those threes in game 3, start getting to the hole, start getting to the foul line. Backdoor cuts is really what killed that zone. And it's like my eyes just lit up there, Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan, if they can break that zone, I think it's over for the Heat, in my opinion. And if they figured it out, because the Heat would have to come up with something new. They would have to throw them something new. And they kind of didn't throw out everything that they got in the first 2 games, if you ask me.
I mean, when you go zone as a defense, what you're telling, Junior could probably speak on this more than I can, but when you're basically telling the other team just to shoot. And obviously that wasn't working for the Celtics until they started getting the ball into the middle of that zone and finally started breaking it down and then finding either open shots either in the basket or back out for 3. So I mean they shot, I mean they got to the line, like I said earlier. I mean they continued to pound the ball inside as much as possible on that, and that's how you beat that little 3-2 hybrid zone or whatever whatever you want to call what the Heat are playing right now. I want to mention something too real quick on just the Celtics. I mean, they finally got good games from their four big players. Marcus Smart's been playing huge this entire time, but game 3 I think was the instance where you said everybody played well. That's making the money, other than Hayward, who's obviously got his first game. It was in his first game back, so it was a little excuse from him. Like the Celtics team is dangerous because they have a lot of offensive options. I think the Heat are probably going to have to abandon that zone now a little bit, just to if in fact the Celtics continue to pound it, because they figured it out early and often in game 3. So I think I don't know if we're going to see too much of that zone anymore, maybe unless they do it like out of timeouts or something like that, where they draw up a play for man coverage and then they throw zone at them just to throw them off or whatever down the stretch. But I think the Celtics combination of getting Hayward back to shoot from the outside, playing Cantor a little bit more. These things are all going to help, I think, break down that zone where they basically, I mean, if you watch what they do too, it's not even like a real a standard zone where they put their big guys. They put their big guys mostly and their wings up top and put the guards down low. So I mean, if they can get the ball within 6-7 feet, they're toast. The Heat defense is toast if they continue that zone. So I think it was interesting how they broke it, but I don't expect Spoelstra. He's not the type of coach that just does the same thing twice in a row. He's always going to have an adjustment again. I'd be surprised if they're not in a majority of man defense tonight.
And Junior, let me ask you this. The man didn't seem to be working. That's why they had to go to the zone. That's what I put in the article. The Heat coach Eric Spoelstra, he's a damn good coach. He's going to have to make some more key adjustments. But defensively, what other adjustments can you make? You really only have one big out there in Bam Adebayo, because you don't get it. Or you playing Crowder, it's still kind of small ball. So when it's come to defending the paint, it's pretty much Bam Adebayo. If he's pulled away, then you got somewhere like Crowder that's defending the rim here, Junior. What you think about that assessment? What you think the Spoelstra will do defensively to switch up the adjustments?
I mean, I think that one thing that I've seen, because they're basically running like a matchup zone, and the one thing in a matchup zone is you can exploit one thing. So what I noticed that the Celtics were doing is they were running their matchup zone, and any situation where Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum had Duncan Robinson on them,
barbecue you already know chicken.
I'm going to see
barbecue chicken.
Meal time.
Yeah.
They were going buffet style, so
that's why they can't do man to man.
Yeah,
and that's why
That's why Jay Crowder was out there so much. They got a Duncan Robinson problem because the Celtics are not going to stop doing that, because that was. I mean, first of all, I'm just trying to pull up the game stats. Pretty sure the Celtics outscored them like 60-38 in the paint, 60-36 in the paint. Jaylen Brown you saw Jaylen Brown at one point was posting up Duncan Robinson literally in the middle of the paint. They were just going to work on him, and I think that the Heat are going to have to figure out a solution. You don't want to take away Duncan Robinson's minutes because he's important to you offensively, but if they can't figure out a solution, they might have to stop switching. They might have to just put Duncan Robinson on one guy and not switch, because and another important adjustment I noticed that the Celtics did which is really smart on their part. They put Marcus Smart on Goran Dragic from the beginning of the game.
Yeah,
you have to.
They just had to, because Goran Dragic was averaging 27 a game on 56% shooting in the first 2 games. If that continued, they would have been in a lot of trouble. So I think this is a chess match, but between 2 of the best basketball minds in the world, and I think that it's Eric Spoelstra's move. Let's see what he's got, but he's gonna have to figure out something to stop these guys from going off on Duncan Robinson. They're kind of doing it to Tyler Hero a little bit, but Duncan Robinson, they're killing this guy right now. So that's a big problem for the Heat, unless they can figure that out. Because listen, if the Celtics are going to have 4 dudes score 20 points, the Heat have no chance. Because the Heat's advantage is that they're a by committee team, that they get a bunch of guys that contribute, and you can't kind of like focus on one guy. Like we've already seen Jimmy Butler take less than 10 shots and the Heat still win the game. But if the Celtics are going to flip the script and have 4 guys contribute big numbers like that, Miami can't win. Miami has to, limit Browne and Tatum and live with everybody else. But if Browne, Tatum, Kemba and Smart are going to give you 20 plus, you guys are done. You're done.
Yeah, I don't think Kemba Walker will. I think saw the winners props around 19 points, something like that, 19 and a half. I would probably go under on that. He might not be able. I'm not saying that that don't mean the Celtics won't get it done, but all 4 of them going for 20. Mainly Walker kind of did surprise me, but I think Hayward was really I think he had like 6-8 points off the bench. I think that was real huge there, and more. He had a few assists out there. It's just his ball. I mean, he's another ball handler out there. You can have Wanamaker out there and Gordon Hayward could be running the show, pump phase, assists, rebounds. You're going to need all that. He could really go out there and get 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists, and it'll be a huge difference maker from what before. What you about to say?
No, I mean, he's been the best player on a playoff team before, right? So you could put him in a lot of different roles, and if you're playing him against another team's second unit, that's a problem for the other team, no matter what, bro. I don't care if he's 80%. His 80% is better than half the Heat's roster. And he's smart, right? He doesn't force shots, and he's a much better playmaker than people. He's a much better playmaker than Marcus Smart, for example. And that's not to take away anything from Marcus Smart, but that's not his role. Gordon Hayward is more of a natural playmaker who's not going to force some of the shots that we complain about Smart. And I got to give Smart some respect. He only took 10 shots in the last game and scored 20 points. Why? He went to the free throw line 10 times. He was being aggressive, getting to the basket. And if he's going to do that, that's a problem.
Got you. What my guy in the chat say, Jay, what your play is? I like the Celtics, my guy. Gordon Hayward is a huge boost for Celtics. Yep. Sammy say Bam, and they real split in the chat. Because at one point I saw pretty much everybody in here talking about the Heat. Let's see, 420 Fago, he say we all like the Celtics and we all gonna be wrong. That's what my guy says. And he says, what's the refs? I wasn't gonna mention the refs today. I'll tell you who they are because they probably got a little too far off looking into who the refs are, but they're Tony Brothers and Scott Fosters. They're in together in another game. It is. So I mean, it's what happens. You don't know. It's hard to kind of gauge who they'll be in for. They're in for somebody. I don't think it's the team that's up here. I mean, if you want my quick assessment, you ask who the refs are, it's Tony Brothers and Scott Foster. And I think this series is gonna go 7 games, man, all the way. So that's just what I gotta say on it, and that's really the last thing I gotta say, man. What else you thinking, Jordan? What you was thinking about the total here, or any little first half total? You liking anything? Little first quarter on under anything?
I'd really like the first half under if the Heat. I know the Heat are going to come out from the jump and play defense. They're kind of a team that likes to warm up to defense a little bit, and as I said, really turn it on in the second half. If they can come out from the jump and are making the Celtics struggle like they did in games 1 and game 2, I'd like the first half under here. But I think like correlation wise with my bet on the Celtics in the first half, I'm definitely not touching the under on that first half too. So I'm probably just going to lay off the totals. Like I said, this line move is a little bit baffling to me. One thing I do want to touch on real quick, something we talked about Duncan Robinson. because the Heat are absolutely between a rock and a hard place with how he's been getting exposed, because the answer defensively is easy. It's take him out and put Derrick Jones Jr. And the problem is Derrick Jones Jr. is a 28% career 3-point shooter. So you lose so much offensively without Duncan Robinson. You can't play offense defense from the jump. You have to leave him in there for stretches at a time. And if Jones Jr. could hit some shots, it'd be a different story. But he just hadn't shown the ability to do that. He's a great defender, but so I'm curious to see how they solve that problem if Duncan Robinson mans up a little bit tonight, or they're forced to go away from him. That to me also is one of the most interesting storylines from this Game 4 and so far from this series.
Yeah, we definitely saw Derrick Jones get it, and I was laughing my ass off when I saw him getting the game. I know it's for strict defense, but you are not getting a basket on offense unless it's a dunk, bro. I'm sorry. Derrick Jones Jr. is not hitting a jump shot, no pull-up jump shot off the dribble, none of that, bro. He's gonna be in there for an alley-oop, and that's about it, bro. All defense. That shit was hilarious.
Rebound.
It was hilarious seeing him in the game, man. He had played all series, but you got to throw some new. You got to make some type of new adjustments, man. Be interesting to see if they used up all their bullets in the first 2 games. Junior, anything else you got to say about this one, my guy, before we get out of here?
Nah. Listen, it's gonna be a really interesting game. I love this series, to be honest with you, because everybody's giving effort, everybody's making smart basketball plays. 2 great coaches. This is just a great series if you love basketball, honestly. But yeah, I'm sticking to that teaser. I feel very confident, not just with Miami plus the 8 points, but like I said, if you gave me the Celtics plus 8, I'm jumping all over that too. So I just think it's going to be a lot closer than that. And I really, really lean towards that under.
Got you. My guy, strong lean to the under. I like the Celtics, man. I did get them at 3. It's going up to 3.5 for, it's a 3 minus 120 at Bet Online. But hey, like I say, it's up to you guys. I bet this a few days ago. And one last thing I had to say about this, I'm not going to say too much else or nothing about especially not nothing rigged or anything, because even if refs could, that's with the refs or whatever. But I will say this, that I think that those 3 days off, we didn't see that with the Lakers, Jordan and Junior. We didn't see that with the Lakers and Nuggets. We know that Celtics have played these couple of double overtime games, and as the series goes on, in theory, it would have been worse for the Celtics. The players would have been even more tired. Then what do you know? I see them boys giving them 3 days off. I don't care, but there's no other way for me to look at this but saying that this is helping the Celtics out, these more days off, because if the Heat advantage was going to be, as long as this series goes on with the Celtics, all these double overtime games they played, the Game 7 series versus Toronto was going to come back to bite them. The league kind of helped them out with that 3 days rest, man. That's the last thing I got to say about this. I like the Celtics minus the 3 today, man. Be interesting to see what happened if they tied up 2-2 or the Heat go up 3-1, man. Like I always tell you guys, nothing is guaranteed, man. Anything can happen. And bet appropriately, man. Do not bet over your head. Don't bet, too much. You're over here betting your rent money and stuff. I will never tell you guys to do that, man. Never. If anything, I would say stay out. Keep that rent money, bro. Go pay your rent. That's more important, man. But Jordan, break them off with your official play before we get out of here, my guy.
Yeah, I got Celtics first half minus 1.5. I think you can still find it potentially. I'm looking for it again right now, but I think most books have moved it to a 2.5 right now. So I still like the 2. Probably would lay off a 2.5.
Got you. Yep, I see a 2 minus 115 at Bet Online. That's the only one that I see out there. Junior, what you liking today, or what's your lean, my guy? Let them know that teaser that you like it, my guy. And what do you think about that 3 days off, real quick, Junior?
I just think that they did that for TV reasons, so that they can have the games, the Game 4, Game 4, Game 5, Game 5. They didn't really want one series to end a lot earlier than the other, so that when the finals come, one team had more rest than the other. I know it's kind of weird the way they did it, but I just think they did it for that specific reason, so that the games are kind of all lined up. That being said, vamos los Heat. I'm all over the Heat plus 8 and under 216 in a teaser.
Got you, got you. Yep. Regardless of where they did it, the Celtics got 3 days off. Much needed rest. Helps out Hayward as well, coming out 31 minutes off the ankle. Be interesting to see if the Celtics can bring that same fight for Game 4 as they did Game 3. If so, this series will be tied up, man, at the end of the day. So be interesting to see what happened. We definitely be back tomorrow, man. Win, lose, or draw, and we'll talk about that Lakers and Nuggets Game 4 as well tomorrow, man. We appreciate y'all guys for tuning in. Go to SBR Picks for NBA to check out all the articles that we had over there. Hit the like button and subscribe as well if you guys like the content, man. We don't be getting enough likes no more. If y'all can, try to get us 100 likes, man. We try to get them likes back up there. We appreciate y'all for jamming with J Money. Back at it tomorrow.